Thank you, Michelle. Michelle, there we go. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me here today. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about my own personal story with IBD, and then talk a little bit about my involvement with Rob's Charity Ideas and IBD Adventures. So I'll start off with, as Michelle said, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease at the age of 12. I'm 19 now, so I've had it for about 7 years. At the time, I was diagnosed very, very quickly. It was about a 2-month-long span. During Christmas, I started to have the normal kind of not very nice symptoms of inflammatory bowel disease. And since inflammatory bowel disease does happen to be in my family, I was taken to the doctor quite quickly and diagnosed very quickly as well, which I do consider myself lucky for, because there are some people that struggle a very, very long time without getting diagnosed. Before the diagnosis, I was very active, teenager. I like to hike, mountain bike, climb, play soccer. I live in Squamish, British Columbia, which is world-renowned for its mountain biking and hiking and climbing trails. For me, I kind of took that all for granted in the very beginning. I never thought that those kind of things would be taken away from me, that my health would be taken away from me. And it was. Pretty much as soon as I was diagnosed, hospital stays, trying to find the right drugs to get this under control. I unfortunately was unable to do any of those things, even hang out with my friends. School was a difficult thing as well. And for me, I still managed to still play soccer, which was a big thing for me, which I kind of tell a lot of people is holding on to playing soccer really helped me kind of stay sane and I think not slip into depression, because I didn't feel like everything had been taken away from me. I still held on to that one thing that I really, really loved in the very beginning. Although it was difficult, I did miss many, many games, but my team was very, very helpful with that. Shortly after my diagnosis, I did meet Rob Hill, and he was climbing these mountains with an ostomy and Crohn's disease. That was really, really inspiring to me. And although I never thought that I'd actually be able to do those things because I was so sick at the time, it still sat in the back of my head, and I thought, that's really, really cool. And it kind of it inspired me to kind of keep going and try to regain my health back. So that kind of sat in the back of my head, and that was just shortly after I was diagnosed in 2005. And the years that followed were very, very difficult for myself and my family, going in and out of hospitals, trying to find the right medications. At one point, about 2 years after my diagnosis, I was hospitalized for 2 months, and that was during Christmas and New Year's. That was particularly hard on myself and my family, considering I have a younger brother as well, juggling all that. I have a lot of respect for my family during that time. And that's really when I hit rock bottom. I had kind of been just coasting along, kept on switching drugs, the ones that worked for a little while, and then, on to the next one, right? And that's when, I can honestly say death was knocking on my door. I was unable to walk. I was slowly, infection was just taking over my entire body. I was losing the fight with Crohn's disease, which is something that I didn't want to do. I was only 14 at that time. That's too early. And the only thing that was possible to save me at that point was to get a colostomy, to get ostomy surgery. Some people ask me, was that a difficult decision? It definitely wasn't. It was life or death. It was either I get the surgery and get part of my colon removed, or I end up in ICU and eventually waste away to nothing. So for me, that was a pretty easy decision to make. I kind of at that point just wanted them to do the surgery so that maybe there was hope that I'd be able to get better. And right after they did that surgery, which was towards the end of the 2-month-long hospital stay, about a week later, I was feeling better. I was able to walk again. I was, starting to eat. It was just such a fast turnaround, and I was able to go home finally, back to my own bed, back to my family. And shortly after that, I met with Rob as well. My mom, I believe, asked for him to meet with me because after the colostomy surgery, I was feeling better, but I still had that in my head that, now I have a bag on my body. I still have Crohn's disease. Am I ever going to be that normal person again that I wanted to be? And me being able to speak one-on-one with Rob really, it kind of just renewed some energy in me to see that he was just heading off to his first Everest attempt right before he spoke with me. And that really meant so much to me, being able to speak one-on-one with him, and he was kind of my idol for ever since I met him after my diagnosis. So it was an amazing thing to be able to speak with him, and he just renewed that energy in me to kind of keep pushing and keep fighting. And he referred me to a camp actually for people who have ostomy, Crohn's, and colitis, and that really, really helped me be around other people that are going through the same thing as me, and it again renewed that energy. I was lucky enough to be healthy for about another year until then, and then the colostomy somewhat kind of failed me. My doctor looked me in the eye, and he said, with a tear in his eye, which made, of course, me and my mom cry, he said to me, I can't do anything more for you. And at that point, that's when I thought, I've been through the colostomy, I got this, I've been through so much, and I thought, and all a doctor can say to me is that he can't do anything more for me. And at that point, I was then passed on to other doctors, which were able to get me Humira, which has helped me immensely, and that's why I'm still healthier here today. And then that also enabled me to go in an outdoor leadership program during my school. It's where you do all your courses the first half of the year in grade 10, and the next half you spend doing kayaking, hiking, biking, and it's not bad for going to school, right? And that kind of also signified me taking back what was taken from me when I was first diagnosed. So that was kind of slowly beginning to take my life back, which was really a great feeling. All I wanted to do was kind of be that, kind of normal again. And at that point, around that same time, Rob I went to another IBD education event very, very similar to this. And Rob was promoting his new IBD adventure, which I'm sure he'll speak a little bit more about to you. And I said to my mom, what about if I applied to go to Mount Kilimanjaro? And she's like, where's that? I said, it's in Africa. And I'd never been outside North America up until that point, so she was like, well, she's always been very supportive of me, my entire family has, and I said, sure, go ahead and apply. I did, and I was lucky enough to be chosen by Rob, and he was able to get me sponsorship from Abbott, and that's when the journey started. The whole idea behind the Mount Kilimanjaro climb was to raise awareness and change attitudes with altitude. That was kind of our tagline, and it was really to get people talking about inflammatory bowel diseases, to show them that they don't have to let inflammatory bowel diseases stop them from achieving their goals. And I just remember, I also threw this one. Being in the hospital all wasn't so bad. I got to meet the BC Lions cheerleaders. So Kilimanjaro was an extremely difficult climb, or hike rather. Rob got me in shape, in very, very good shape before the climb. He had me on a Marine Corps workout of some sort. And I'd never been at altitude before, so it was something new to me. And I was only in a hospital bed about 6 months before, so there's a lot of things going through my head, but I felt like I was mentally ready with the struggle with Crohn's disease. I felt that I was mentally strong, and I also felt that I was physically strong. So I went going to Africa just with renewed energy, and in the hopes that we'd be able to inspire other youth, adults, whatever, to get out there and not necessarily climb mountains, but to not let IBD stop them. So when I summited Mount Kilimanjaro, which was about after six days, and the summit night was 9 hours long, I believe. We started at midnight, and we hiked for about 9 hours to the summit in the darkness. Kilimanjaro is 5,895 meters, so just a little bit under 20,000 feet. So it's quite high. You can definitely feel the altitude up at that point. And the entire team summited, a great group of people. And standing on top of that summit, I went into the Kilimanjaro climb hoping to inspire others to not let IBD stop them. But as I stood up on there, I thought, you know, it's weird, it never really went through my mind, but I thought IBD isn't stopping me either. After thinking of what I'd been through and, you know, still having the ostomy, I still have the ostomy today, I never ever pictured myself being able to stand on the highest mountain in Africa. I never even thought I was going to be able to start hiking or biking or climbing again. So that was kind of significant for me, that it was really the time that I was taking my life back for the first time really after my diagnosis. So after the Kilimanjaro climb, we got to meet, Rob and I got to speak a lot at education events like this and meet many amazing people and just continue to spread the word about inflammatory bowel disease to other people that didn't even know about it before. Rob decided that he was going to make his second Everest attempt in March of 2010, and he invited me along to go on that trip. And it was the same idea behind Mount Kilimanjaro to, you know, change attitudes with altitude, to not let IBD stop you, and just generally raise awareness. So being in the Himalayas, again, was my first time in Asia. Absolutely amazing. It's really humbling to see just the large mountains like that. And that's Everest Base Camp. The crazy thing is Everest Base Camp is actually almost the same height as Mount Kilimanjaro, which is high. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how high the mountains are in the Himalayas. And I wanted to show you guys a quick little video here. There's avalanches up at base camp.